Hi, my name's Andrew Thorp. I'm one of the co-founders of MojoLife, and here we are at Civil Service Live in Olympia in London, presenting our ideas and our philosophies. Mojo as a word means spark, so commonly when people have lost it, they go flat. And they go flat for a number of reasons. They might have lost their job, or they might be in a job they don't like anymore, or they find unfulfilling, or they may have an ambition which is unfulfilled and is causing them some anxiety, or maybe just a lack of ambition. So when people decide they're at this kind of crossroads, there's an opportunity for them to then rediscover something they feel strongly about. And when people find their purpose, they just come alive, they become revitalized, and they get their mojo back. So we've met many people on the stand these last 2 or 3 days who are in the process of maybe losing their jobs because of the downsizing process, or maybe they're perhaps worried and anxious about all of the change that's taking place in the organization. So we can help both those categories of people. With people who are leaving, forced redundancy, so to speak, or indeed voluntary redundancy, there is an opportunity for them to redefine who they are, so that they discover that they have something that they can do. They discover something that they're really good at, maybe a problem that they can solve. But what's interesting is to encourage people to speak in a different language. So rather than speaking about their job title or their grading, which is sort of the institutionalized way of discussing what you're about, when you're moving from the public sector into the private sector, that needs to go. You need to start talking about who you are, and what you believe in, what you stand for, what problems you can solve, and what you love doing. And very often when people start asking those questions of themselves, they find an awful lot about themselves that they didn't know before, or they'd forgotten. But of course they've got to put that into a really compelling story, craft it well, deliver it with passion and authenticity, and then all sorts of things can happen. MojoLife was created out of the shared experiences that Sarah Knowles and I had, and we'd never met. But we'd both suffered a kind of traumatic experience in our lives. Sarah was made redundant from the British Council after 12 years. I had a business partnership that kind of collapsed in a heap and left me in a difficult situation. But both of us, independently, having never met, essentially reinvented ourselves and took our lives in a new direction. And we did so because we discovered what we were really good at. And what we were really good at also coincided with what we had a passion for, the things that we felt strongly about. And we essentially found our voice. So finding your voice is, first of all, discovering the thing that you're destined to do, or what you really have a passion for in the first place. But secondly, your voice is about how you articulate that message. So when you're selling yourself, when you're going for a job interview, when you're pitching to clients or expressing ideas to people and trying to get them enthused to buy into you, you've got to express that in a way that's coherent, that makes sense, that's well structured as a narrative, as a piece of storytelling. But you've also got to describe it in a way that sounds compelling, and that you believe in what you believe in. It's got to come across that you really, really passionately believe in this stuff. So how you say things is as important as the things that you say. So when we work with people, rather than putting their CV together or scrutinizing their CV and tweaking it, we ask them to write their manifesto. And writing your manifesto is a very different thing than writing your CV. It's less to do with job titles, and it's more to do with who you are. It's what you believe in, it's what you feel strongly about. It's, is there a problem that you identify that you really feel you want to solve and can solve? And how would you do that? And give me an example of maybe when you've seen that in action, either yourself doing it or a colleague, or maybe a source of inspiration that's made you do what you do. That's part of your story of what you're putting across. And when people discover it and they start to express it really well, people get it. They just get you, and they want you, and people will find you, and your message resonates with them, and the right people find you. It's really, really powerful.